For us to discuss all of this. So you've got this call from China to work with Beijing, restore the bilateral relationship damaged under Donald Trump. You're a China watcher. What signals did you take from what you heard? A lot of it is nuance.
Yeah, a lot of it is nuanced. It was an interesting opening keynote address at the Lanting Forum delivered by the Chinese State Councilor and Foreign Minister Wang Yi earlier today in Beijing, messaging that we frankly have heard before, but also some revelatory moments. Now, in this address, Wang Yi, he basically asked for a reset in U.S.-China relations, as well as respect for China's core values. As you just mentioned, Michael, we heard from Wang Yi slamming the previous administration, blaming the Trump administration for current difficulties between the U.S. and China. Wang Yi also urging U.S. lawmakers to stop smearing China's ruling Communist Party and to stop supporting separatist forces. He also underscored the need for these two major world powers to get back on the right track, and again asserting that need to respect China's core interests. Again, all these lines you've heard before. But what was interesting was what Wang Yi said about Xinjiang, especially given these rising calls from the West for greater access to investigate human rights abuses in Xinjiang. I want you to listen to what Wang Yi said.
Xinjiang, Tibet, and other areas where ethnic minorities live are even more important examples of human rights progress in China. Over the past 60 years, Xinjiang's economic aggregate has increased by more than 200 times. The per capita GDP has increased by nearly 40 times, and the average life expectancy has increased from 30 to 72 years.
Now, China has been widely condemned for setting up and operating these vast complexes in Xinjiang. China calls them vocational training centers designed to stamp out extremism, provide job training. Critics call them concentration camps. But as you heard just then from China's foreign ministry on Xinjiang, he hails the economic development achieved in Xinjiang as evidence of human rights progress in China. Michael.
I wanted to quickly ask you, what other issues you see going forward. I mean, as you said, Mr. Wang specifically mentioned, he talked about conniving with separatist forces in Taiwan. He said the usual, don't interfere in China's internal affairs. What other roadblocks can you see, or road bumps can you see in this relationship?
There are a host of roadblocks ahead, as we've been discussing for months now. A number of friction points of contention between the U.S. and China, whether it's trade or technology or Taiwan or human rights abuses in Xinjiang or Hong Kong or assertions of sovereignty in the South China Sea. But it's interesting to note that the U.S. right now, during this critical moment of bilateral relations, is distracted. The United States, and China is aware of this, is distracted by the ongoing coronavirus pandemic, which is reaching that grim new milestone of 500,000 deaths in the United States, as well as its economy being very weak. China, meanwhile, has largely contained the pandemic. Its economy is strong. It's investing in the future. This is going to be a key challenge ahead for the new U.S. president. Back to you.
Yeah, that's a great point. Distracted by the pandemic. Kristie Lu Stout in Hong Kong, always a pleasure. Good to get your analysis there.